Welcome everybody to the NLC Spring Split. We're into week 3 here. We've got plenty of games to come. We're kind of heading towards that halfway mark in our competition where teams are technically taking a stock of where they are. My name is Scoundrel. I'm joined by a very classy looking Gulborg on the desk today. And Jamada also joining me over there on the right. Now, before we dive in, I've got to say thank you to our sponsors, Telia, MasterCard, and LG. And of course, we have our player of the day. I know Gulborg looked at me like I said that horrendously again. He just gave me the eyes. I knew what he meant. We're into week 3, as you can see here, almost halfway through our weeks, and we've got plenty of RP still to give away. So head over to our social channels. You'll find us NLC LOL, and you'll have plenty of opportunities to win yourself some RP prizes. Now, before we do start to talk about today and talk about the standings, we do have special bit of content for you. Some of the players put together some guides for you guys at home so you can kind of look to improve your play in League of Legends. So let's take a look.
Often the difference between like a silver game and a platinum game can be like how much people farm. Some people are really good mechanically in low elo, but they just don't farm enough to get items.
The best tip I can give to someone trying to evolve is you probably want to focus on your weaknesses first. Usually what will stop you from reaching a higher level is your weak link. A chain is only as strong as its weakest link. If you die a lot in lane, it doesn't really matter how good you are out of lane, that's going to hold you back.
I think also it's important to maybe check out what other people are doing, trying to copy a bit from what they do, and then add a little bit of yourself to it.
Task in, and that's the shutdown. Dragdar slides
There's a combo.
And this is
adopt a mindset where you only focus on how you can impact a game, and you do your best to try not to care about how others affect the game.
You have to be actively thinking. If you're brain AFK at any point, useless. So don't do useless practice. If you are serious about getting better, then actively think in your games, in your reviews, and make use of that way. I think that's the best thing you can do.
I really want more of those, because maybe I could not be a hard stuck Platinum 4 Cyan one trick if I got to watch some more of those. But of course, I do have to bring Gulborg and Jamada in here, guys. We are heading towards those halfway points. So let's talk about, I want you to pick one team that you think, and I'm going to ban Fnatic and XL, okay, because clearly they're academy teams, so I'm banning them from this question. Pick one team that you think has surprised you and you think is a dark horse contender for the NLC.
Is Trick considered a dark horse, seeing as you guys didn't believe in them, but I did?
Yeah, I'll take it.
I will say, cool, because I will say that they are definitely the one, for me, that came together as a team rather quickly and showed their strength. They had a strong roster last split as well, and there could be some arguments about was this roster a downgrade or an upgrade, but after seeing what they've done in the Rift this split so far, I'd say it was an upgrade.
Yeah, and I think in the other side of the table in Group B, Singularity, man, I think they honestly look relatively impressive. They're kind of playing good League of Legends in most of their games. They're a really well-rounded roster, and of course, they're all UK, so I've got to show their respect.
Of course, I think you guys did choose the two most obvious choices. Those are the ones that I was thinking of those, to be fair. But I did say anybody other than Fnatic and XL.
Yeah,
those are the two teams that I think have been shown the most promise over the course of the split. Speaking of the teams, let's take a look at where we are in the standings today. We can give you a brief overview of kind of where the stakes are lying. And with Division A, or rather Group A, you can see BTXL at the top. Gulborg did mention Tricked. They only lost to BTXL thus far, and they have a chance to gain some revenge later on in the split. And then it goes down to Granite Gaming, and right now the bottom of the table, it does really feel like it's a complete fist fight for 4th right now. It feels like BTXL, Tricked, and Granite are just about, Granite are just about getting their noses across the line, and then it's just like some kind of crazy fist fight for that 4th spot between Nordavind, Dusty, and Godsent. I'm going to hand it over to Group B here and have a look at the other side, and we can see how that one's shaping up. You can see Singularity at the top at 4-1. Fnatic are to play today, so we'll see if they can match them and come away with the same scoreline. Barrage also at 3-1. A lot more even across this group. Actually, before that Singularity win, as you can imagine, we were 3-1, 3-1, 1-3, 1-3, 1-3. So basically, very, very split group with 3 clear frontrunners and 3 teams clearly lagging behind.
And it's also a testimony to how close that last playoff spot is, that you said it yourself, we kind of have a good idea what the first 3 are going to be, but there's a lot of 1-3 teams here. And that means games like today where Riddle and MNM are playing, every game counts now that we're heading on to the second round of the tournament. So a lot of pressure onto them, but doable for all of them. No team is counted out of playoffs yet.
Well, of course, we had games yesterday, so let's take a look at some of the highlights from that day. We'll start off with the Tricked versus Granite game. This was a very, very good performance for Tricked, Jamada.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, Tricked have been playing some of the better League of Legends in the league. Probably the best away from the academies, so I wasn't really too surprised to see them come in and kind of just throw Granite to the wayside, in all honesty. And of course, the main man R2 was really, really popping off, and I think just giving him all the resources is really working out for them right now.
And of course, here, Gulborg, BTXL, no surprises, they managed to get their win over Godsend.
Yeah, it's kind of the thing that heading into the second part of the tournament, I'm hoping we get to see academy teams be more contested now. Obviously, Fnatic has taken one loss, but that was a substitute top laner, and they're a complete different breed with Pride in the top side as well. So hopefully we'll get to see them more contested, and it won't just be a Fnatic Excel show.
And Dusty, my boys, they got a win. I'm sorry that I spoilt it on Twitter for a few people as well, because I was just so hyped about Dusty getting a win. But Dusty got a win, and I'm so happy for them. And of course, Singularity, as Jamada said, they are one of the other teams that are sort of playing relatively high quality League of Legends, and they've looked pretty strong nonetheless. Cova unfortunately could not find some of the form that they'd seen in some of their previous games, and honestly it felt like a massive top diff with Vazor versus Tati as well. That just was like, Vazor schooled him on that top side of the map. It was disgusting. But you know, we have more games obviously coming up today, and I think that's where we should have a look to where we're going. Let's have a look at the games that we've got coming your way. We have Fnatic Rising versus MNM, followed by Riddle and Barrage, Godsent versus Granite later on, and then Dusty versus Tricked to round out the day. On paper, a relatively, I would say, one-sided affair through most of the games on paper. Like, I think if you were to look at the predictions, and actually I might bring the predictions up early just because it's in the context of the conversation here. If we have the predictions, I can show you, but basically, it's relatively one-sided across the predictions anyway. So as you can see here, like, it's Fnatic, it's Barrage and Gulborg. I don't know if this is just Danish allegiance that he's gone for Riddle, but he's...
Do not call them Danish, they're Swedish. We don't want to offend them here, all right? That's my Swedish brethren on the other side of the ocean. I'm 10 minutes away from Sweden, so, you know, I might as well go over there every once in a while if there wasn't for some circumstances in the world. So, you know what? I'm rooting for them today, and I'm not just here because it's Swedish power, all right? I'm here because I think they have a shot, but enough about that later.
I should have said Nordic allegiance then. We'll dive into that when we get to that second game of the day. Granite across the board versus Godsent, and then Tricked across the board versus Dusty. So it's you know, in terms of generic kind of like, I guess, you know, colloquial opinion, or collective opinion. Colloquial is completely the wrong word. Collective opinion. It's a generally one-sided day. And of course that brings us to our first game of the day, which is going to be Fnatic Rising versus MNM. Look, this is a difficult one for me to say, like, where do MNM start? But Gulborg, like, where do MNM start?
So you gotta start when the game starts. I mean, in turn, they've just been a team which has had issues both with their laning phases, but also with their general macro. And I mean, realistically speaking, I don't think they're beating Fnatic today. I don't even think they're going to be able to use it as a stepping stone, but I think they will be able to use this to kind of round out the draft, get some good experience against some good laners, and hope to take away some what you want to improve, because we've seen that they can get the ball rolling if they get the early game going for them, but basically all of their players, apart from two, are negative in goal by 10 minutes. Like, they're always down already 10 minutes into the game. So you kind of need to stabilize something that's in the laning phase. And if you can't do that, well, then it's kind of, just doomed.
Yeah, I think, of course, Fnatic are clearly just the superior team when it comes to this matchup. But I mean, for Fnatic, I mean, Jamada, are there any weaknesses that MNM could maybe look to exploit, or is it just a simple clear-cut case of?
I think it's kind of doomed. Like, you know, it's no secret.
Loyalty, man. Loyalty. Where's it at? Where's the loyalty
secret. I love the Marshmallow Boys, right? But I just think that this is too big of a Herculean task. Fnatic are just kind of better mechanically and as a team. I mean, again, I think much like most MNM games, if they can really make things scrappy and they can sort of throw Fnatic off, maybe they have some kind of weird draft plan in place, then maybe there's a chance. Maybe. But I would be selling you the heaviest of Bibles trying to say that MNM really have like a solid chance in this matchup.
Snake oil is coming out. Jamad is going to reach into some pockets and just pull out the snake oil and say, "This is it. This is what wins the game versus Fnatic."
On the other side of the coin, it's also for Fnatic time to continue that dominance. We saw what they did to Riddle, and we saw the interview with Febin as well, where he's a bit displeased with there is no proactivity coming in from Riddle. He kind of missed teams challenging him, respectively so. And yeah, you might go down as MNM today, but if you can go down while actually trying, that's a win in my book for them today. I just don't want them to, I just don't want them to go for a late game scaling composition, sit in a lane, do nothing all game, and all of a sudden your Nexus just exploded and you're just sitting there like, what was the point? Like, at least fight for it. I hope that's what MNM is going to be able to show us today.
Okay, let's turn our eye to Fnatic, because clearly the story for Fnatic has been that kind of like attempt to go back to being that dominant power. That first loss we can kind of discount because they had that sub top laner. But has Fnatic to you looked like the real deal? Because obviously bringing someone like Forbidden in, the name that the weight that name provides is absolutely huge. Has Fnatic looked like, again, the strongest team in this competition, or do you think that they're a little bit more manageable this year? Do you think that actually they're not completely head and shoulders above the rest?
I think since they've had Pride back in, they look like, I would say, the second best. I still personally put XL just above them in terms of the whole competition, and I don't think many people would necessarily disagree with that sentiment. So yeah, I still think they are just, like you said, they're head and shoulders above everyone else, bar XL really.
And I actually think that it's not just Fnatic, but to me, I think that we need to highlight the skill of players coming in as well. I think Pride, what he did to the team, and Pride, historically in the UK was like, oh man, why is this guy in Fnatic? Like, I feel like Pride is the weak link. No longer that. Last year Masters as well, we saw what Pride could do on champions like Camille. We've seen what he does in Renekton as well. I think Pride is at a peak in his career, and ever since he was brought back, it's just top div. And I love seeing that as well.
Yeah, it does feel like Pride is definitely adding an extra facet to Fnatic that they were clearly missing in that first week. You can see the impact that he's had as a personal injection, and I think that's been a transformation of Pride ever since the first time he was brought onto this roster. He had faced criticism on that first split that he played. There was a lot of criticism levied towards Pride, but he's grown and got better and has improved massively since then, and now is a massive kind of, I guess, yeah, sorry guys, just almost bedtime. This is just my life. I'm just here talking about video games, and in the background, my son is just
Rupert is not
popping.
A Pride fan.
He's not a Pride fan. Popping off in the background. Anyway, but I think clearly this is a gargantuan task for MNM, and it's very difficult for me to press you guys on how you think MNM win this, or but I guess the question is, do you think Fnatic need to stomp this? Do you think Fnatic need to absolutely 20-minute force the FF type game to really show, or are you looking just to see good fundamentals from them, just play it safe and kind of take the objectives and rotate properly and at least show it that way?
I mean, I would love some creativity coming out from Fnatic as well. We don't necessarily need to see a stomp. If you want to try something new, this is the game to do it in an official for sure. But I mean, we're probably all expecting that stomp to come out either way. So if what Fnatic decides to do in the end of the day, I don't think it will matter much. But it would be nice seeing some new stuff coming out from them as well.
Yeah, my only hope is just we don't get another Riddle game where we just draft everything hyper late game scaling and we just see a slow roll where Fnatic, I mean, in that game, they had it was a balanced out team composition, I guess, but Riddle just got choked out so slowly. It was really boring. So I just hope them actually fight back.
I do think I'm maybe being relatively unfair, or rather we've been relatively unfair. This is the NLC after all. Stranger things have happened where a favorite has clearly, struggled to perform when it counted. And I think there are opportunities where MNM could maybe, come out, at the end of the day, they may just win a good dragon fight. They may snowball it from there. MNM are a team that can and are capable of, at the NLC level, of just snowballing objectives and like any team would be able to. So, I'm not counting MNM out 100%, but I believe Fnatic are definitely the clear favorites in this particular matchup. Now we're going to go to a break. When we're back, Champion Select will be ready for this matchup between Fnatic and MNM. So we'll see you then.
This land of which we claimed, wash it from our hands. Don't flinch or move a mile. It's safer for the houses are proud. We'll live near the forest. Say all your prayers. Ears to the ground. We can't look back. Sunsets, high rise, you know you're on the floor, diamonds, good light, walking the golden door. Everybody knows that you want it more, more. Ice cold to the touch, we're gonna burn it down, bodies so hot until we hit the ground. Everybody knows that you want it more, more. It's not my fault. I don't wanna talk about it, not tonight. No, you probably think about it, but it's fine. Playing all the same, you know there's no amount, 'cause money makes the world go round. I don't see a problem till it makes me sick. Dollars by the minutes, I'ma spend it quick. No talking me down, now I'm doing it now, 'cause money makes the world go round. Sun-kissed on my lips, the way I want it now. Don't trip, never slip, they wanna take me down. Talk is never cheap, so you say it loud.
We are heading to our first game of the day, Fnatic versus MNM. And MNM clearly the underdogs in this scenario. It is not impossible for them to take the win here, but obviously Fnatic come in with a winning record, and they have the power of the likes of Forbidden. They've got a superstar jungler, Maxi, who's kind of been going from strength to strength. Pride's back in the top lane, and I think is it Bean and Rux in the bot lane? You know, they're very storied ERL bot lane who have had success across multiple leagues as well. So got a very, very, very good roster here. Have Fnatic rising, and so we're expecting them to be the victors. But again, not out of the question that MNM can win with the right circumstances, and obviously we do need to give them their credit for that.
I would, all right, devil's advocate time. You get priority lanes, all right? For some reason, you're going to get priority at least in 2 lanes. You have red side here. There is a possibility for it. Your bot lane is winning. Your mid lane could be winning. And there is a possibility where apparently you get Olaf on red side. Maybe on someone else where as a jungler that Raxi can actually... Oh, it's bad. You can... Well, it was never going to be open for red side either way, all right? I'm just trying to find like that one specific timeline. But if you have a jungler that's able to solo out these objectives with the pressure you get the straight Drake stacking going, you get into the like mid game 10 to 15 minutes with a lead, and you start taking skirmishes. Maybe you'll be able to fight some fights that will lead you to a victory from there, or at least more objectives that can then scale into another fight, into another victory. But it all starts from the priority lanes.
Honestly, I'm going to build off your devil's advocate. Air needs to have a performance that's like 200% better than we've seen from him in some of these games.
Yes.
For them to really pop off here. I think versus an incredibly steady hand of Forbiven, I think you have to have Air really excelling himself here if he wants to kind of match that performance and put MNM in a good position. But honestly, Pride, this is a great champion for him. We know he loves it. He's going to pick up the Renekton here on first rotation here for Fnatic.
There's something I don't get with this Camille ban always. So they third banned Camille and they first picked Renekton. I'm always interested of that because there's both. It's a counter matchup for Renekton. Obviously, you get side scale later, but it's still a good matchup you can play around with the likes of Talia that is still up as well. On the other side, though, you get the Senna and the Pantheon, both huge power picks right now.
Yeah, and I was kind of surprised Talia's also up. Which MNM could have very easily just gone Pantheon Talia too, so they really must be planning something with that Senna. In particular as well as, I mean, Maxi's just going to get his Nidalee because it wasn't banned away by MNM.
Exactly, Maxi Comfort. He's very happy to just immediately lock that in. Let's see where Fnatic round out this first half of their pick phase.
It'd be interesting. I'd expect an AD carry here at least, or just because that you want to pick into the Senna. Kaiser's already off the table, but Senna's in a really good spot right now because of a huge lane, her priority in lane, and the fact that she's actually great in team fights now as well. Beforehand, she was more of a poke kind of champion with the lethality build, but nowadays with the Kraken Slayer and the ability of actually having attack speed with the Rage Blade, like you actually kite out and do nice damage in team fights with this unhit build.
Really ramps up the damage. Is the end result as well. TF would be interesting.
Alistair.
Yeah, Alistair as well is kind of weird because, like Gulborg kind of pointed out, and I think you pointed out too, AD carry would have made sort of more logical sense. But MNM are going to try and challenge Fnatic with the Twisted Fate, which I'm personally a big fan of. I think, MNM have to get kind of messy in this game, and having 2 globals available to you, technically 3 of the Senna at that level 6 mark, I think really kind of makes for trying to build up some numbers advantages on the side lanes and just trying to push advantages where MNM don't have the numbers.
This is the kind of comp that was already shaping up like it could snowball. Like if you get it right and you make the right play, one play that you can coordinate those ultimates with, you could snowball this game relatively easily. It is a bit of a message. This is a bit of a kind of like a Febby, give me your best shot with the TF lock-in immediately. The Syndra ban obviously making perfect sense off the back of that as well. But this is, I said Air is going to have a good performance. When you play a Twisted Fate, it's kind of the linchpin of a composition, right? Twisted Fate is often one of those pivotal picks that can actually make or break a composition. And it's going to be up to Air to have that impact this game on a champion like TF.
And so far, all of MNM gaming right now are kind of semi-global. You got the Senna ultimate, you got the Pantheon ultimate, you got the Twisted Fate ultimate. So, I mean, you got opportunities to counterpick this Renekton as well. Start playing for a side lane. You got fine bot lane right now with decent priority just from Senna alone right now, unless there's going to be coming... I don't actually know what AD carry right now just takes away the priority, but I might find out. But in the end, as you said yourself, X-Scoundrel, it is very bold for a player like Air who's been underperforming, just blind picking a mid laner into Featherin and only banning Syndra. I can't wait to see what kind of finicky counter pick he's going to bring out against that one to get the lane priority.
I'm wondering whether it's just a Febby Oriana, I guess.
It could be as well.
It's looking like it. I know. Oh, okay, Rel would be really cool. All right, I'm a fan of the Rel pick. Though I think Fresh could have maybe worked a little bit better, but I would imagine Rel has a really nice time into Alistar regardless. So now for Fnatic, I mean, AD carry, there's plenty open, right? You've got the Jhin, the Xayah, the 2 that immediately come to mind, because there is one more I feel like I'm missing out of that
stand, right?
Kaiser's gone, Samira's gone. Oh. Tristana, I mean, this could still technically be a flex. We have to wait for Fnatic to actually lock in their final pick, because Tristana can do really well into TF. It kind of forces the Twisted Fate to have to hold on to the card selection, because if he throws out any colored card, that's just go time for Febiv, and he just hops on top of Air, and Air can't really respond properly. So we'll have to see. It's actually looking like it's going to be Trist bot into this center.
And that just kind of illustrates that you have lane to play for outside of mid lane, realistically in the early game. Top side can get up there with the engage coming in from Tristana and an analyst as well, something to play for as well. But you know, it's not going to happen. But I would love to see Babista just be like, you know what? Pick me Quinn. Let's play side lanes. Let's just keep splitting the map and just punish that the team comps are coming in like this, because the team come of Fnatic Rising right now, they want to play team fights. So as MNM, you could be splitting up the map instead, but it seems like we're kind of playing for the lanes here. Realistically speaking, you got CC in every lane still. You got CC in a gold card in mid lane. You got the stun from a Pantheon in top side. And obviously Rel can come in there with a knock-up. But it's going to be finicky navigating the team fights around the later stages of the game. You need to kind of be splitting up the map around this Pantheon and then having the Taliyah coming in shadow. That's kind of what we're looking for.
Plenty of global pressure though from MNM. They have a lot of snowball potential in all of their lanes realistically. They've got a lot of high power picks, like there's a lot of very high tier picks across the MNM roster right now as well. So they have actually drafted themselves potentially a good shot here at least trying to sling a reasonably sized arrow at this Goliath that is the Fnatic Rising roster. So I'm kind of excited to see if MNM can pull this one off. Maybe they'll prove everybody wrong and potentially take that upset win. We'll have to see. Closing thoughts, Jamada. Like these two compositions, what are your thoughts about how the matchup might end up playing out from here?
I mean, I think for MNM, they've drafted the kind of composition that they would need to try and take down the likes of a Fnatic, right? You just have 3 globals on the top side, 4 even from the center, and you just look to attack side lanes. If anyone sort of makes some kind of illegal movement on the side lane, right, they shove up one wave when they shouldn't. That's it, just immediate collapse. You take those picks, you try and turn that into jungle camps and vision, and just priority around some of these neutral objectives. I think it's probably the best thing MNM could have gone for here for themselves.
Best shot MNM could have given themselves to take down Fnatic. The draft was relatively successful then for them in terms of Jamada's eyes. Let's hand it over to our casters, Orcs and Hiprain for our first game of the day.
Thank you very much, Scoundrel. And I looked at Fnatic's comp, I saw Renekton and Nidalee, and something you have hammered into me over the years is that is a disgusting combination. But another disgusting combination is the Pantheon Taliyah. So genuinely top jungles are going to be really, really exciting. I'm hoping to get some TV2s up there.
Yeah, I'm actually really excited to see these two compositions. I think MNM's navigated the draft pretty well. Problem is, this is 2 teams, one of which is really just on form at the moment. Fnatic Rising's been playing flawlessly in the last week, and MNM has been struggling. So compositionally, I think MNM should be fine here, but it all comes down to that individual play. I'll have to see how it pans out. Maxi might actually just die here.
Yeah, he looks for someone, finds the spear, but everything is going to connect. He has to flash as the gold card will follow into the slam, and it's first blood for Raxi.
Yeah, I mean, definitely a good play, and MNM find the window to punish him, but I'm just kind of wondering why the Pantheon wasn't there. He was on the bot side, I guess, spying out an invade, but I feel like, you know, if you're trying to make a trap for someone, I'd kind of want the Pantheon to be there with that point-and-click stun, because I feel like Air wouldn't have had to flash then. It would have just been that instant W in the follow-up, but either way, they get the kill, they get the flash from Maxi, definitely going to limit how aggressive he can be, and you can see Raxi has already gone and picked up a Dark Seal to start things off. So, I mean, MNM are in the lead. Stop the count.
All right, well, it's going to be a leash to start here topside. Pride's going to help. MNM also doing a leash on their blue side. So both junglers on the opposite sides of the map from each other. Does mean odds are they're going to avoid each other for a little bit. However, this does mean that Raxi will be pathing upwards. We could see something break out in this top side with that point-and-click stun into the seismic shove. Febiven, though, in the meantime, getting pretty heavily bullied by Air.
Yeah, that's a bit... just giving it to him. Why not? You know, he's going to step up like that, play overconfident, put some harassment into him, make him use those potions. I think one of the big things with the Azir is it's going to be able to find priority at a point and just provide that pressure for the Nidalee. One of the reasons they decided to pick that one up. But obviously with the TF, he has more roaming pressure once he hits 6. So at that point, he's able to really facilitate those plays coming out.
Blue's just going to jump away. Thought he was looking for a Ferromancy onto Bean and Rux, but not going to pull that trigger. Now level 2 has been hit, but they are going to miss out on the snare from Mihibaris, and Fnatic still have to play a little bit worried. There's still a level advantage over there. And Raxi maybe looking for Febby here. Seismic Shove's going to force the flash. Febiven now just really getting bullied for playing quite far up in the lane.
Yeah, I mean, this is the thing you want. You want priority from your Azir, but the cost of that is he's vulnerable. He does have that cleanse still available, so there's potential he could navigate a second gank that comes out. It's not like he's just a sit and duck, because obviously Azir has the mobility. But already, this is just a positive start for MNM. And in the top lane, Babista, obviously we'll see Pride pick up the farm on that wave, but coming into this, I saw Renekton in Italy, and I thought, oh, what is MNM going to do? Because that is just a death sentence for most top laners. The fact they got the Pantheon Talia, and the fact that Babista's navigating this early game pretty well, I'm feeling more positive than I would have expected to so far for MNM, but it's still very early days.
Yeah, it is early days. We have to see how they can use what they've been able to accrue for themselves so far with this jungle on Rex, and obviously the flash now being down on Febby. Although Febby does still have a cleanse, so somewhat okay for the moment. But I want to see some moves towards this top side. I think that's what I'm looking for from Raxi now. Air should be feeling relatively safe now that the flash is down on Febby. Obviously Air had burnt his flash earlier to secure that first blood. That's why his is on cooldown for the moment. So neither mid laners have their flashes.
Essentially, it's looking at who can capitalize on that. For now, I mean, the main thing is that the TF, his is coming up sooner, but the Azir obviously has his own mobility to offer, so not too much of a concern. But otherwise, we're just having a pretty slow early game. Junglers are both happy to farm. Obviously, both of them got pretty solid clear speeds. It's not too much of a concern, but I feel like there's a lot of avenue for this game just to explode open. If one of the junglers shows up top, it's pretty easy to find a kill setup for either side.
Yeah, Pantheon and Renekton set up pretty effectively for ganks. That's a weird interaction. They're jumping in, though, looking for Mihabaros. Going to catch him out with the attack repel. Ruck's now caught out by the snare as well. Ferromancy's still not being used, and Ruck's going to get sent packing. Flash and exhaust used from Mihabaros there.
Yeah, not sure the flash was needed, I'm going to be honest. Mihabaros was basically full HP and has used exhaust. I think he could have just stayed a bit longer and gone for the trade. I think maybe a bit of an overcautious flash, and as a result, you're now in a pretty vulnerable position, because if Maxi does show up on the next play, then you are flash dust, and that's when you would need it.
Well, Raxi's now on the top side, but Babisa's already forced Pride out of the lane, so they're not really going to find anything there. Just resets coming in from the top side right now for the side of MNM. Although Raxi actually hanging about. There is a teleport for Babisa, so can teleport back into the lane if he needs to. Pride's a ways away, and Raxi actually has no topside camps to clear, so kind of just chilling for the moment.
Yeah, I mean, but Babista's got a wave in a perfect spot here, frozen in front of the tower. Air has level 6. It is a really nice ward in the mid lane coming out from Febiven. That's exactly where you want the ward to be, just outside the tower, but it means that whenever the wave is pushed in by Air, you can see which direction he's rotating. So they obviously saw him walk towards the top side. Pride knows he's in a vulnerable position and should sort of back away and play this one safe. You can see he is toying with the idea of walking up to that wave. It will eventually shove out, but he is missing a lot of farm in the meantime. You can see already Babista's 10 CS up, and actually Pride's going in.
Yeah, Raxi looking to come in as well. He was a little bit slow on the play. We have a look at that again. He was just standing in the bush. I don't know what he was channeling, but he was channeling something. Very strange play there by Raxi, and wasn't on form with the rest of the team. That was probably a bit of a freebie he lost there.
I think the reason Pride stepped up was he saw Air go back to mid lane, and I think maybe MNM had gone, right, the play's not going to happen, and Raxi was recalling. And then Pride's like, okay, TF's mid, I'm just going to walk up, and MNM still managed to find the flash. Now, this wave is going to crash, and Pride will be able to pick it up and kind of match a bit of that CS advantage, but he'll still be behind, and without that flash, he's still vulnerable. So far, MNM kind of getting everything they wanted in the early game.
Yeah, it's not awful stuff for them. There's this big CS lead building up for Babisa's. This way finally crashes into Pride. Taking back to the map. And Febby's heal, sorry, not heal. Febby's flash will be coming up fairly soon. So the punish from that has kind of evaporated, lost its opportunity. Blue waiting in this bush just in case Rux steps out.
Yeah, so we're actually just going to clear up that ward. Obviously, you know he's there, but wasn't really much you could do. Rux was playing pretty respectfully. But you see a pretty big CS gap opening up in jungle, mid, and AD carry. And that's kind of just naturally occurred for the side of Fnatic. It feels like they're just farming better. And I understand in the bot lane, that's down to the pressure that Fnatic has in the lane. Obviously, burning Miabaros's flash is a big factor. But in the mid lane, it kind of just feels like Forbidden's just been hitting more CS. There's no other way to really phrase it.
Rux threatening Blue Miabaros there. This is going to be the dragon getting picked up by Maxi. Don't really have their lanes in the position to contest it. MNM just going to have to live up this objective.
Yeah, I mean, Rux and Bean are offering a lot of pressure in the bot lane, and critically, because they saw Raxi, they know he was on the bot side. He needs to go towards the top side to clear his camp, so he's going to fall further behind the Nidalee. So it gives a window for Maxi to pick up that dragon, and even with the time vested to take the dragon, Maxi's still 2 camps off compared to Raxi.
Spotted out on a ward as well, Raxi, trying to make a play in the top lane, but not going to be able to find that one. Getting bullied pretty heavily by Febby, as Febby's able to take a plate as well.
Oh, the missed cannon from Air. That's the kind of thing that'll put you 20 CS down, because Febiven just hasn't really been missing CS. He's just not been in the business of it. You see a ward spot out Raxi here.
Yeah, Febby has to be a little careful. A lot of people coming in. Does take a gold card to the face, but able
the
to
bot
shuffle
lane's
away
coming.
to safety in time, and the collapse is coming in. Rux is here, looking for that big flank, looking for that big knock up. Not going to be able to find it, and Fnatic just end out getting the Rift Herald leashed for them.
Yeah. Thanks for the assistance. We'll take that. Pleasure doing business with you. And the critical thing was the bot lane moving up from Fnatic Rising and the ward of the river. The ward obviously giving away that MNM were going for this, but the fact that Bean and Rux moved far before, I mean, MNM's bot lane didn't even look like they were going to move at all, but the fact that Fnatic's Rising's bot lane was ready, despite MNM being the one who started the play, meant that there was no way MNM could continue that. Otherwise, it would end up in a 3v5, and losing those 3 lives would be devastating for them in this daily game. Still even in gold, but obviously with that Herald in pocket, this is definitely a tool Fnatic can use to look to snowball the game.
Yeah, remember the gold lead was a lot bigger kind of 4 or 5 minutes ago. It wasn't a massive lead, but there was a lead for MNM. And now it's only gone down to a 100 gold lead. You can see that Fnatic are just going to slowly pull themselves further and further ahead due to the farming. I mean, we look at Maxi up over Raxi. We got Febby over Air. Bot lane 10 CS up. Top lane is the only lane that's actually down in farm right now. And it's really insignificant amounts. So Fnatic,
I mean, that's
they're
the
just farming
devastating
better
thing.
at the moment.
The devastating thing is, like, Raxi was only 2 camps down compared to Maxi. And then because he started the Herald and spent so much time on it, he wasted all that time, only for Maxi to come in, take the Herald, take the Scuttle, and then go back to his camp. So it's gone from a 2 camp lead to a 5 camp lead. Mid's ahead in farm, bots ahead in farm. It's just free money.
Looking for Pride here, though. The Destiny's been used. The railgun, a little bit too slow. But Beast able to secure that kill, and no assist for Miabaros. But MNM left their mid lane exposed, and with the Rift Herald up, they're going to do a lot of damage to this tower. I don't think they're going to be able to get it, although it's going to get pretty low. Blue getting chunked out by Bean here. Bean actually doing a lot of work. Has popped the W. He's actually going to jump into the Magnet Storm. Bean just bops them back and hops in. 1 versus 2. Bean is doing so much work here. Has to flash away as Miabaros flashes forward looking for him. Maxi coming in with the healing and with the backup. And Bean actually just pulled a 1v2 off. Air, in the meanwhile, gets shuffled back by Febby. Gold card's going to mean nothing here. And Air has to flash away from Forbidden. Fnatic over the map making plays. As Raxi,
they're not done.
You might be in trouble here. Flashes away, but Rux follows him over. Maxi flashes forwards, and Rux secures the kill. Fnatic suddenly just turn the heat up. As Babisa able to dodge away on that spear, but Rux is still not going to give him the opportunity to escape. Goes for the headbutt, goes for the pulverized. Spear from Maxi comes onto the back, and now Babisa going to get locked down by Pride. The rest of the team are jumping in, and actually MNM might just turn this one around. Pride will lose his life as the teleports are coming in. Fnatic maybe bit off more than they can chew. The gold card will connect from Air. The Grand Starfall to follow up as well. They're looking for Maxi. Rux's ultimate has timed out, and Air will be the one to pick up the kill. MNM fire back.
Yeah, honestly, Fnatic getting a little bit overconfident there. It was some good plays. You could see them absolutely outplaying their opponents. Bean finding the 1v2, Febiven finding the shuffle, and then that pick on Araxi. And then they just kept going. And it's like, okay, there's a limit to how far you can go before there's going to be a response coming out. I mean, this 1v2, Blue used his dismount, ends up getting caught out on the ground, and the exhaust does nothing when there's a cleanse available. Bean just has the damage to cut through him, and then Miyabaras is like, cool, I'm going to flash in a chase. But instantly, Fnatic's Rising support and jungler there to assist, able to help him get out of that situation. And then Air, not really too significant in this play, but it does get the flash from Air. Febevan just looking to challenge the TF, but this is a big one where Fnatic overstep, because this is fine, going for Raxi. 2 flashes burn is a big investment, but you get the kill. But at this point, you can just go towards a tower. But Beast is leaving, he's gone. The spear doesn't connect, let him go. He's not going to go into the tower. You could have just let him leave, but instead they go for the play, and it ends up being a massive overcommit from Fnatic. Miyabaras is back on the map with full HP. You know the TF and the Pantheon have global Fnatic. That should be punished and was.
And as the replay comes on, we actually have a look at the state of the game. And Fnatic, once again, looking for a play onto the MNM guys, but Dragon is on the menu, and it looks like that's what they want to get here. Ruck's able to dodge away on some of the turnaround. Febevan comes in for the sweep, actually gets it onto one. Magnustorm's been used, Bean flashes, and he gets stunned instantly. Fnatic just running MNM down. It's a double kill onto Bean. Big seismic shove, but Babisa going very, very low here, and Bean's going to collect himself a triple kill. Maxi jumps over the wall, and Bean is going all in, baby. Fnatic take out 4 of MNM, and it is just looking so crisp.
Fnatic just know what they need to do. Yes, they made a mistake before, but they just keep throwing everything at MNM, and MNM just can't keep up with them. The micro is just better here. I mean, you see Rux initially caught out, but the knockup doesn't connect from blue, and then Febevan dives in. No response even to him. The fact that Febevan can go in like that, the CC's not available to respond. He's able to get the play off and get out. And then it's just more and more pressure coming out from Fnatic. MNM at this point, you're 3 against 5. You're never going to win that. But the overstay means even more kills for Fnatic, and then the Dragon on top. And it's now a 3,000 gold lead for Fnatic Rising.
Really big. You see the gold graph on, well, not the gold graph, the gold differences of the individual players on your screen. Being up 1,100 gold. And honestly, you got a 4-0-1 Tristana at this point. Level 9. So level 9's are equal in farm. But honestly, this Tristana is so huge right now.
Yep. And I mean, the only sort of saving grace is that obviously Talia's unraveled earth. Things like the TF and the Pantheon can obviously keep her in check to an extent. But at this point, this massive lead. And that's the thing, is that we saw MNM have very slight, but they were there, advantages in the early game.
Oh. No, don't worry. Febevan flashed. It's fine.
Power flash. You saw situations there where MNM had slight advantages in terms of kills, but the problem was Fnatic were ahead in farm, so the gold was even. But now Fnatic have taken over in terms of kills. The farm that they've accrued just means they're monster ahead. And Febevan playing with fire, but the engage comes in.
Yeah, that's a big one there from Rux. Gets 3-man knocked up. And Bean's got the charge in, and Babisa's going to lose his life. Febi's the one to cash in on the kill, but Blue uses the Magnet Storm to pull 2 in, but he is going to have to jump to safety. Seismic Shove's not going to do enough here. And MNM lose another 2 members.
Really feels like MNM are trying to make these desperate sort of plays and not landing enough CC, not landing the right CC, the damage lacking a little bit, but Rux is just always ready to go in and look for some kills on the side of MNM. And at this point, gold lead's going to hit about 4,000, a little bit more after this tower goes down. Yeah, it's 4,000 on the spot, and it's really starting to feel difficult for MNM to find a way in. Even if MNM are playing as well as Fnatic, the goal deficit is going to make this game extremely difficult. The fact is, Fnatic are just playing better at the moment.
Yeah, they really are. They're just, honestly, any opportunity, they take the fight because they know they can win it. And if we take a look at where they are item-wise right now, you got the Gorge Ringer finished up with the Pride. Maxi not rocking any of the Mythics yet. Might just go Night Harvester at this point. Honestly, they're that far ahead that they might not even opt into the Moonstone build. There's a Kraken Slayer on Bean. Leandry's on Febi. Really big stuff there.
Fnatic just setting up the vision, getting the control around the river. They want to get this bot lane tier 1 tower that's still up and available, and it's very easy to do so with the Azir, not only shoving in the midway, but then leaving the tower to cover. and being really patient, knowing the only way MNM find a way back into this is with number advantages. If they find a pick, if they have 3 members against 1, they catch someone out on Fnatic, that's the avenue they can use to punish, and Bean is just not even going to let that come close to happening, playing very respectful.
Really like that from Bean. Not getting greedy, not getting cocky, ultimately knowing that they just want to win this game as quick as possible and as clean as possible. MNM are a team who will punish them if they're given that opportunity, and he recognizes that. So I like that play from Bean. Charge is going to come in, and second tower will crumble. The Azir tower times out, but rocks in on the flank. Will be spotted out by the pink ward though, so not going to be able to get too much more there. And ultimately, Fnatic get himself 2 turrets and just extend this gold lead even more. Air flashes, Febby cleanses. Bean jumps the wall, and now Air has to be careful. Rox only gets a knock up onto 1, caught out by the attract repel, and the spear follows down as Featherman gets the shove, and Air will lose his life. Maxi just doing so much work on that front line.
You see both carries, the Azir and the Tristana, have cleanse available, and it's for exactly that reason. That play just doesn't work when the cleanse is up. And I think they were kind of thinking, okay, if Featherman doesn't have flash, we can go for him, but you have to keep track of the secondary summoners, particularly when it's one like cleanse, because Air wastes his flash and ends up going down essentially for free on that one. Fnatic happy to just pick up the kill and return, and Maxi a little bit aggressive on that. Not sure you really have the damage to kill Raxi without landing a spear, but he definitely secures that blue. And Raxi does have to trade flashes just to get out on that one.
Ocean Drakes can get started up, and Fnatic, you know, not really going to get answered out here. They know this is going on. Air has Destiny, but I don't think he's that crazy. 17 stacks, 14 stacks, I can count, on Maxi's Soul Stealer.
Good amount of AP being offered from the item, and obviously that movement speed passive already available. There's going to be an Ocean Soul, and that's the thing, is MNM 1 dragon away from having to contest it, otherwise they're giving up the soul, and they just really do not feel like they're in the position to do so. 6,000 gold lead just coming up in 20 minutes is absolutely massive. And MNM, again, they're trying to find these picks, they're trying to find these isolated members of Fnatic Rising, but it feels very desperate.
Well, the beast said that might have been a little bit too overeager, my man. The Railgun's going to come out, Pride's on that flank in the middle of 4. Raxi's delivered in by Featherman, and now Bean can look to jump walls. He's not going to reset. It's just a 1-for-1 trade, and MNM probably okay with taking a 1-for-1 there.
Yeah, I mean, MNM honestly coming out of that better than I would have expected. Pride going way too deep on that one unnecessarily. He should have just turned onto the Talia. You see Baron being hammered though. No jungler for MNM.
Yep, they use the Destiny, but Bisa actually looks for the knockback. It's going to be Blue getting himself the shutdown already. Picked up by Air. Rux now, the gold card will connect to him any second now as he is locked down and taken out. But Bisa, the one to take the kill. They've been doing a lot of work over this wall though, and MNM actually walking into this area and getting complete control here. Their jungler's back up on the map. Don't know if they really want to attempt the Baron with the Azir nearby though.
Baron could be a bit risky, but I think they might. No, they're going potentially for another pick here. They want to use this numbers advantage while they can. Or not, I guess. Just kind of showing some presence. By the way, this is Fnatic being greedy again and overstepping. We're seeing a situation where, you know, Babista is potentially caught out, but the TP is quite deep from Pride, and then he goes straight in towards 4 members. He could have walked around to the left. Instead, he goes straight in, gets CC locked, and goes down. Definitely a wrong decision there. Disrespectful, necessary, and that led to a Baron start. And once again, Fnatic starting it up, and it's up to MNM to be able to respond.
Question is can they respond? They've used a lot of their ultimates already, and Fnatic almost have all of theirs back up. So it's going to have to be one hell of a fight. Baron's already secured, and it's not to MNM to find some kind of an answer back, but I don't think they're fancying it. I don't think they're feeling it. Fnatic, couple of mistakes here and there, but ultimately still are getting away with a lot, and that is mainly due to the fact that they've got a 5,000 gold lead. Wow, I really can't count today. What the hell's wrong with me?
Today?
It's extra bad today.
You actually see the Moonstone come out from Maxi, so wants you to fill more of a support role for the team. I'm not going for that Night Harvester, but yeah, I mean, at this point, the gold lead really substantial against MNM. They undoubtedly are still going to look for the plays, the angles in, and there may be windows. I think overall Fnatic have just been playing better, have been outplaying them, matching them pound for pound and exceeding it. But the critical thing is they haven't been completely clean. There's been mistakes from Fnatic. There's been messy plays, oversteps. And they should be looking, especially against a team who've been struggling as much as MNM have in the league, they should be looking to have a really clean game.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, is that when these mistakes happen and MNM aren't able to punish them, I sit there and I think, would XL be able to punish this? Would Singularity be able to punish this? Would Trick be able to punish this? Speaking of
looks like MNM are going to look to punish. They put the wall up. They put the Grand Starfall into the railgun. The flash over the wall, and Bobisa comes in. A big knock up from Rux. Here's Pride on the flank, though. Caught out by the gold card, but it's Bean jumping and hopping forward, looking for these MNM members. They've already lost their top. And it doesn't look like they're going to lose anything else yet, but Fnatic still got the Baron buff and still got waves to work with in the mid and the bot lane. Going to walk into these towers. Bean to be able to take it down so quick with the explosive charges. Rux looks for something, but isn't going to get it. Gold card does connect onto Bean, and now Bean actually has to hop to safety. But Mihibaris flashes forward and secures himself the kill. The buster shot's not enough, and the tower ultimately still will survive in the bot lane. So MNM still finding opportunities, still finding moments to punish Fnatic. The Destiny's been thrown down, and Air's got that gold card. Maxi's the one course out from it, as Teleport's coming in for the backup as well. But Bobisa locks Maxi down. One more gold card will come in as the Proto Belt and the movement speed lands from Air, but Maxi gets the movement speed from these extended bushes. Gotta love an Ocean Soul.
Gotta remember the Medjais as well, giving that extra movement speed, helping him to get out. And that's the big thing. They wanted that pick on Maxi because with the jungler down, they could actually take this dragon for sure. And now it's a little bit more tenuous. They are trying to find a pick on the back of this, but Fnatic, they have vision of them. They have 4 members here. I don't think they're really too concerned about forcing in here. They're still 6,000 gold up.
Well, Febi's going to find them. And blue flashed. I don't know if that was a real flash or a hex flash. I'm hoping a hex flash. It was a hex flash. He's got his real flash back now.
Okay.
Okay, thank God for that. Well, now the Rage Knight's finished up on Mihibaris, he actually going to start to do a little bit more damage.
Yeah, compared to 3 items on Bean, I'm not so convinced.
Yeah,
but,
okay, isolated. Rux is coming on the flank. MNM aren't ready for this, so they're just instantly throwing out the fight, and Air's been separated thanks to the wall. The shuffle back from Febi. Maxi slides in forward, and Pride's already able to get himself one. That's the shutdown in return from Air, though. But at the end of the day, Maxi is doing so much work, and Raxi will lose his life to Bean. Bean uses the stopwatch to survive. Ocean Soul for Fnatic rising. 3 kills, 4 kills, 3 kills, I can count as well. And honestly, Fnatic, there are mistakes, there are issues showing up in this game, but they are just too far ahead over MNM.
Yeah. I mean, the lead's substantial. You actually see Mihibaris reset and bought Ginsu's. That's really concerning, because that means he went with that fight when he had basically Ginsu's in pocket and didn't buy it. So a lot of gold was in his pocket prior to that fight, which means he's obviously never going to be able to do as much damage as you'd hope. But I mean, you see the replay of this fight, and the critical thing is both Febiven and Bean know this is a high priority fight, so they both buy stopwatches. Here, Febiven potentially could have gone down, but he has a stopwatch available. And although Bean doesn't actually really need his for the fight, it's only on the back end, it's another instance where this Fed carry with tons of damage over your carry has enough gold to buy a stopwatch, and it just means the chance of you winning the fight is so incredibly low. And now they have an Ocean Soul and a 7,000 gold lead. It's just feeling pretty doomed for MNM at this point.
Well, they have found a few fights which maybe shouldn't have gone as well as you would expect, but Raxstein there isn't going to be great, as that's the shuffle back already. And it is just the easiest tidy up for Fnatic. Raxi able to jump away with a sliver of health and Air, gatekeeping with a gold card to make sure that his jungler doesn't get picked off quite yet. Inhibitor will crumble. Bot lane inhibitor tower is already low, but Fnatic not even interested in that. They're going to step away, Baron up in 50 seconds. May just look for this top side for now, though.
Yeah, and I mean, it's a good pick from MNM. You have to look for plays like those, but unfortunately, Febiven just absolutely decimates them on the back end. And I can't fault MNM for trying. At this point of the game, this deficit, that's the way back in. It's a desperate one, and it's unlikely to work too effectively. Fnatic will just continue to extend this lead out, pick up more and more towers, and they're going to go for a reset with Baron spawning in 20 seconds. little bit late for a reset typically, but when they're this far ahead, I don't think they're really too concerned.
No, I think they're fine about that. They are going to quickly spend up some of this gold. I think this might be the last spend of Fnatic here. As you can see, the individual gold. Most people have spent their gold right now, so we'll see what that has actually turned into. Rapid fire cannon. I think there's a QSS is what being picked up on this base. Has the cleanse and the flash as well, so the ability to catch Bean is actually going to be really hard now.
I mean, he's got flash, cleanse, and QSS, and Febiven just picked up his Zhonya's there, so the stace is available again.
Maxi takes a lot there. Again, Raxi not ready for the engage, but actually they're turning it. Here comes Babisa. The railgun's going to get fired. Puts up the Aegis to keep himself alive for the moment and has to flash away, but Pride comes in with a flash. Knocked back by the seismic shove. Fnatic just going to take the inside track into the base here. Stepping away as they know that the Baron is what they're after right now.
Honestly, that was a solid disengage from MNM. The engage play a little bit botched, I would say, but ultimately it's the goal difference. Maxi getting stun carded into a full clear combo, and he's still at like 30% HP, is not what you want. But there's just lacking damage for the side of MNM, and there's no vision towards this Baron. They just can't approach. They have one ward that can see Rux and Pride, and they are the bouncers, and you're not getting in.
Yeah. And with the Azir Tristana, you expect it to go down very, very quickly. As Febby going to join over the wall any second now. And join the rest of his team as they're looking to siege this this topside turret with Baron in hand. Bot lane already pretty low from an earlier siege, and it's going to have to be a desperate fight for MNM if they're going to be able to win this. They're inside the spooky wall ghost at the moment, but the stuns are going to... Mihibaris is dead, and I think even with the wall, this should just be enough. Febby shuffles back Babisa. Babisa puts the Aegis up, but still loses his life, and now being free to fire onto absolutely anyone he wants. Seismic Shove gets flashed away by Rux, and Fnatic will just be able to take this top lane tower like it's nothing. Super minions pouring in the base from the mid lane. There's a minion wave on the bot lane tower as well. Fnatic have as many minions as they need to work with here, and it's only going to be the top lane. Febby zoning Raxi away from his own Nexus. As Raxi's going to have to go golden with a stopwatch to keep himself alive for this one, but the towers will not last for long. And Fnatic Rising put on a absolute corker. A kill per minute as Fnatic Rising beat MNM.
And I think for most people, this is the expected result. I will say, though, that MNM definitely had some good ideas coming in this one, and I did like the draft. I think there was just too much of a skill difference between the two teams. I think that gap was really hard to overcome, but that being said, Fnatic, it didn't look super clean. And again, we're being super critical because the expectations are you have Febiven on your roster. You've always won the UKLC or the NLC. You've always been first. So I will be critical because I think there were mistakes there. And I think against a better lineup who, because MNM right now are one of the struggling teams against one of the more formidable opponents, they can be punished. So again, things to think about for Fnatic. It definitely wasn't completely smooth sailing, but still a very convincing win. No matter how I try and spin it, it was absolutely a crushing victory.
Yeah, I'm really curious to see what the analyst desk have to say about that one. And speaking of that, we are going to throw to a quick break, and when we're back, we'll have them break that game down a little bit more. So we'll see you in a second.
Stay sweet summertime, sipping in a high, we caught a fever for two. Go together like neon in the night. I know I'm better with you. I know that you see me the way that I am, floating on a feeling with no other plan. You make me feel good, lost in the moment. You make me feel good, hearts running wild. You make me feel good, love like I'm falling. Know that I'm all in you every time. You make me feel good. You make me feel good, hearts running wild. You make me feel good.
the sky. Love is almost.
Welcome back. Fnatic do take the win. You know, MNM put up a bit of a fight, and I think I was talking to Jamada and Gulborg when we were looking through the game. It wasn't kind of like a choke them out stomp, but it was never like Fnatic were out of control of that game. Fnatic were clearly in the driving seat for the whole thing. They gave up a few kills here and there, but realistically, that was a game that was very much in Fnatic's control.
Yeah, and while watching that game, I actually think, you know, we were talking about the early game and what we wanted to see from them. Their early game was insane. They got First Blood, they got Flash in mid, they got Flash in top, and you have Twisted Fave, so you know you have this global composition where you want to punish these flashless targets. But problem for me came when you didn't utilize that composition. You did not punish on the flashes being down. You did not use, I think, as Jamada put it while we talked, the tempo you kind of had to go for it. Because with your comp, you wanted to play the map, get a lead on side lanes, and then in turn you could play the objectives afterwards with that lead. But we never really got to see that. They played into the hands of Fnatic, and they kept opting into team fights against them. And while Fnatic's comp might not have been the best, they had the lead. So while you keep walking at them, well, you're just going to die.
Yeah, and when you're running a composition like what MNM has, where 4 out of 5 of the ultimates are effectively global ultimates, right? They're not these big team fighting kind of ultimates. You have to play numbers advantage, and especially, we spoke about it from as soon as they locked in TF, it's Pantheon TF, okay, playing side lanes, numbers advantage. They round out the draft with Talia to exacerbate that, and they don't really play off it, and they had an insane early game. They never really pressured Pride after he blew the flash. They never really got to pressure Febiven either in the mid lane. I think even though it's definitely been a characteristic of MNM to not be that proactive, when you have a composition like that, you have to be proactive, and they just weren't proactive enough. And it's kind of disappointing because I think they had the kind of composition to try and take down Fnatic, but they just didn't really play to the execution thresholds that they needed to meet.
Well, I believe we have a specific play that you want to break down from that game. Now, I don't know whether I'm welcoming Professor Gulborg or Professor Jamada here, so it's going to be completely potluck. So whoever starts talking, it's the professor you've got for today. Let's go.
It's me, baby. Once again, I'm back. Here we are. All right, let's talk about this. Let's dive into this Ocean Drake fight. So to kind of set the scene here, you haven't really had a reset from the side of MNM here. You've been kind of struggling to get back into the game, and even though Fnatic's comp may not be the best of all of them, like you also have priority in pretty much every lane. So there's nothing stopping you from walking in here at the side of Fnatic. So you're quite comfortably just going to do that. And what you will see is that they're walking as a unit. They know that they need to play. They can't play into the numbers advantage of MNM over here. So all you have to do is just stay together as a unit. You know you will out team fight them, and that's what they do. You don't see them splitting up. At the side of MNM, they're trying to walk forward. They're trying to get a pick here because that's essentially what their composition does. And when they try and get in here, they're opting into it with a 5x5 with a flank. But there's too much disengage coming out from this PC pick. They're just too far behind, and it's just so easy, despite having Rocks trying to make a flank and essentially making Fnatic play that out 4v5 until the later stage as well. There's just nothing you can do, and that's what happens when you get to a point where you couldn't really play into your own win conditions here. So I really like the early game once again from MNM. As I said when we started, I wanted to see that they tried to create these stepping stone, not necessarily to get the win, but to show more of your potential. And I think they did that today. I think that if they had not played Fnatic, they might essentially have won a game today.
Yeah, I think, you know, they are showing some potential, but again, it was a tough ask, I think, versus Fnatic. I have now got Pride ready to chat to, so I'm going to bring him in to have a little talk to Pride. Pride, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. What's up?
I'm good, man. How are you? Been a while since we got to chat. Hopefully we get to see each other a lot more throughout this split with Fnatic continuing to do well. So obviously you were not there for the first game, but obviously came back into the roster following that. What has it been like kind of meshing this new Fnatic together? Because you had a lot of changes. I think you're the only remaining player from the previous Fnatic Rising roster. So what has it been like getting this new Fnatic roster together for this upcoming split?
That's true. I mean, for me, it's a massive change because in the past we've also played from home, whereas now we're playing from the gaming house in Berlin, so I'm here with the boys. I think that's a big difference as well. We just have a deeper connection, you know, we talk to each other all the time, even out of the game, about the game, which I think is impacting our play, or my play at least, in a very positive sense. And obviously they're all different guys, but you know, I'm used to that. There will always be roster changes, and I believe this is the best roster we could have set up.
Yeah, and the roster does feel like it is going to be a strong roster, especially the more and more you gel together. What is it like? And obviously, the big question a lot of people ask: what is it like playing with someone who's got so much experience, like Febby? What does he bring to the team that you know that you wouldn't have had otherwise playing with someone like Febby?
As you mentioned, it's definitely the experience, and he's very knowledgeable about the game. So whenever, like for example, some macro is not clear to me or something, I can just ask him and he will lead me to the right direction, which is it feels very nice, you know, to have somebody sort of there to always be able to help you no matter what.
Yeah, of course. And I think obviously you guys will be setting your sights on European Masters. You'll be setting your sights on the title once again. What do you think of, because you're not the only roster obviously that underwent pretty huge changes. XL also underwent some pretty significant changes. And I think realistically from what we're seeing, it is shaping up like it is going to be another Fnatic versus XL type of showdown. Obviously there are some outside contenders like Tricked and Singularity who are doing pretty well in the league as well. But obviously XL will always remain your biggest rivals in our league. What do you make of the new XL roster? They've had some changes too.
I think their top side is definitely looking far stronger than it has in the past, but I don't think it's enough to change the results that have been occurring every single split in the UKLC and NLC, which is Fnatic will always win in the end. So.
Fnatic will always win in the end. I think that's a good place to leave the interview, Pride. I think I'll happily take that statement away. Honestly, great to chat to you. You seem like you're really in your comfort zone again, and I hope to see you much more.
All right, thank you. Bye-bye.
You know, I like it. I love the confidence from Pride. You know, good topside changes. They've got, you know, an ex-LEC top laner. They've got a new jungler in, but it's not enough. Not enough. Fnatic is still going to win, and that's kind of what like what I was hoping to hear. If I'm honest with you, I was hoping to hear that. Oh, guys, right. I was hoping someone was going to say something there, but now that we've had an awkward hang, I'm going to say break time. See you later, guys.